July 5th, 1949. Tokyo's morning rush was beginning when a man vanished. That man was Sadanori Shimoyama, the first president of Japan National Railways. Just a day earlier, he announced 30,000 layoffs, a devastating blow to Japan's struggling post-war economy. Public backlash was immediate, and then he disappeared. Later that same day, his body was discovered on the train tracks between Senju and Ayase, mangled, broken, and almost unrecognizable. A freight train had rolled over him, but a deeper question remains. Did the train end his life, or was something more sinister at play? Was he driven by pressure and shame, or was it a cover-up to silence him? Who stood to gain? Radical labor groups, intelligence services, or political insiders? This isn't just an unsolved case. It's a ticking time bomb from Japan's post-war past, still buried under silence. This is the Shimoyama incident. On the morning of July 5th, Shimoyama left home en route to Japan National Railway headquarters, but never arrived. By afternoon, concern turned to panic. High-ranking officials didn't just vanish. Witnesses later reported seeing someone matching his description at the Mitsukoshi department store in Nihonbashi, calmly shopping. Hours later, another sighting placed him near Gotanno Station, walking alone toward the Joban line, where his body would be found. And then, nothing. No train records, no confirmed movements, no briefcase, no personal effects. Crucially, there was no message left behind, no sign of his intentions or emotional state. One account described him as disoriented, but that report was quickly suppressed. In an occupied country with constant surveillance, the idea that no one saw what happened seems unlikely, unless they did and stayed quiet. Just after midnight on July 6th, a freight train on its regular route hit something between Senju and Ayase. It was Shimoyama. His body was torn apart, clearly run over by the train. Authorities initially ruled it a tragic accident, but the autopsy report suggested otherwise. There were signs of blunt force trauma to the chest and abdomen, injuries that likely occurred before the train strike. Investigators also noted a lack of blood at the scene. Rain was blamed, but doctors questioned whether that explanation held up. There were no blood splatters, no dragging marks, and no personal items nearby. Even his body position, facing away from the train's direction, seemed off. The site was poorly preserved. Evidence was lost. And as hours passed, the truth began to slip away. To understand why Shimoyama's death shook Japan, we need to look at the bigger picture. It's 1949. Japan is still under U.S. occupation, and the Cold War is escalating. The U.S. is pushing hard to suppress communism, especially within labor unions. The railways? A prime target. As president of Japan National Railways, Shimoyama was ordered to carry out massive layoffs. Some believe he did so reluctantly. Others say he was pressured behind closed doors, and that he may have been planning to step down in protest. Some even claim he was preparing to leak internal documents exposing who was truly behind the downsizing. And then, just a day after the announcement, he vanished. No press briefing, no follow-up meetings, just silence. The official version pointed towards self-inflicted tragedy, suggesting Shimoyama may have taken matters into his own hands. He just delivered devastating news. The backlash was intense, the pressure overwhelming. Some thought he couldn't take the weight of it, but the facts don't line up. Doctors noted injuries consistent with an altercation, not something self-inflicted. He left no farewell message, no final words to his family. And if he were truly in emotional crisis, why was he calmly shopping hours before his death? Even officials quietly dismissed the official version. One remarked, "If Shimoyama did that to himself, then I'm the emperor." It was the simplest explanation, but far from convincing. If Shimoyama didn't act on his own, then someone else may have made that decision for him. His layoff announcement created 30,000 potential enemies, from union members to political extremists. Could one of them have sought revenge? But deeper theories emerged. Some believed Shimoyama was removed by anti-communist factions, possibly under the influence of foreign intelligence. Why? Because he may have known too much. If he had documents, allies, or intentions to resist, his disappearance eliminated that threat before it could unfold. The strange injuries, missing items, and absence of blood all suggested a staged scenario, not a spontaneous event, and no one ever claimed responsibility. No serious investigation followed, just a quiet narrative and an unspoken warning. Some believe Shimoyama wasn't just killed, he was used as a symbol. This theory suggests he was abducted, possibly interrogated, and placed on the tracks after the fact, already gone. His death disguised to look accidental or intentional. Supporters cite the lack of physical evidence. No blood trail, no personal effects, and injuries inconsistent with a live impact. Even his body's positioning felt rehearsed. And then there's the suspected cover-up. Researchers allege that witness reports were buried, forensic inconsistencies dismissed, and documents suppressed, all to avoid scandal and protect those in power. If Shimoyama had become a liability, removing him and masking the truth may have been seen as a necessary move to maintain order. Over 70 years later, the Shimoyama incident remains unsolved. Was it a man pushed beyond his limits, a political message, or the calculated removal of someone who knew too much? We may never know. Japan's statute of limitations has long since expired. The case is now one of the three great railway mysteries of 1949, alongside Mitaka and Matsukawa. His story has inspired films, books, and endless speculation. Some believe evidence still exists, locked in archives or hidden in attics. Others think the truth was erased entirely. Could modern forensics reopen the case? Possibly. But without access to the remains, records, or suppressed testimonies, the mystery remains sealed. One man, one vanished day. No answers, just silence. If this left you questioning what's real and what's erased, there are more stories like this waiting to be uncovered. Subscribe to Track 13 Mysteries. Ring the bell icon, and until next time, remember, every track has a story.